Hi, welcome to Empower Her. My name is Priya, and I have someone very special to me today. It's my sister, Pratibha. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Priya. I'm doing good. How about you?
Yeah, good. So, first of all, thanks for coming on the podcast. And basically, I wanted to have my sister here because um, since everybody knows that, Empower Her is about women empowerment and talking to women who are doing really well in their careers and have had, really interesting career journeys. And obviously, I could not have you here because, um, I wanted to share your story when it came to your career journey. And obviously, without you, this podcast is not complete because, you have obviously had a very interesting career journey and, it has been full of different challenges and also successes. And I just wanted to share that with everyone, with other women, especially because first of all, the field that you're in, you started with engineering, and engineering is a field which is male dominated. They're mostly males who are software engineers or software developers, and so it's really tough for women who are in this field to succeed and become successful in this field. And so you obviously have a lot of experience, I think maybe around like 10 years or so,
Yeah.
and that speaks to a lot. So I just wanted you to share, all these different challenges and successes in your journey with other women who are in this field. And maybe they are just starting, or maybe they haven't started, they have just passed out of their school and they're kind of like thinking about, engineering as one of the options. And so it's just to help them figure out, is this field really for them? And if it is for them, if they do decide to go for this field, what do they need to do? What kind of challenges should they expect? And, what are the different options? Because even within engineering and the IT field, it is a huge field. It's not just, one option. Like there's only one software engineering option. No, there are so many things that people do.
Mhm.
So I just feel like a lot of women don't know what these options are.
Mhm.
So let's start with a quick introduction about yourself. So, start with what your education was in school, and then, what did you decide to do when you went to university? Why did you decide to, choose that field? And then we will go into like your career afterwards.
Mhm. Okay, so basically, when I had just completed my high school, right, which is 12th standard in India, I was not really sure of which field to take in, right, because you are not sure of what career path should you choose. You are so much confused because you always try to, discuss with your peers, discuss with your parents, and you just want to choose the best option for your career growth. So at that point of time, I had given various entrance exams and I was not able to clear any of them. So I was very much frustrated, and I had literally given hope that, in engineering, maybe engineering is not meant to be in my destiny, right? So I was really not sure, and I had thought of doing something else. But luckily, I got the opportunity, and I pursued a course in electrical engineering. And the greatest thing about engineering courses is that you get to learn so many different kind of subjects. It's not just that if you are into electrical engineering, you will not get to study programming or anything else. It includes everything. So engineering was quite interesting field for me because it was a course of 4 years. In every year there was a different subject to learn. So after completing engineering, also I was like not very much interested to pursue programming job, right? I was not very good with coding. So at that point of time also I had certain fear that maybe, I won't be able to become a programmer, because 90% of the jobs after engineering is into IT field only. But then I had not like backed out, and I was still applying for jobs, and all of my friends got college placements. And at that point of time I was not getting that opportunity. So after waiting for 6 months or so, like after my graduation got completed, after 6 months of so I was still applying for jobs, and I was really frustrated. I was reaching out to different people. I had certain referrals where people could refer, and I could get some opportunity to give some interviews. But after waiting for 6 months or so, I got that opportunity, and my first job was in HCL Technologies. And that particular office was quite far away from my place. It used to take 2 hours for me to travel there. And then also, like, initial phases were quite tough, because when you are hired in that company, then you have to complete the training for 2-3 months, and you have to give the exam, and then only they will consider you for a full-time position. So I was going to the office, I was attending those trainings, and then I had cleared those exams. And then they had decided that, okay, certain amount of people have to relocate to other places, because they cannot give jobs in the same location to everybody. And then that's how I had to relocate to Mumbai, which is quite far away from Delhi. You have to literally take a flight to go there. So then I had to relocate, and then I had stayed there for 1 year or so. And then, like, for almost across 3.5 years I had worked in that company. And then, like, I was not so within those 3.5 years I was not learning that much, and I was not open to I was not getting so much of learning opportunities there. So I wanted to have some challenging role where I could learn something new, and also, like, just climb up the corporate ladder, right? So that's how I had started learning some courses which I had, like, seen online. Those were not related to my field, but then I had wanted to do some research and wanted to study, okay, what are the different fields apart from programming which you can learn, right? Because IT field is so vast that you don't have to restrict yourself that, okay, only if if you're good in coding, then only you can survive. But that's not the truth, actually. There are so many fields, and so many things within the IT field which people can be expert in, and also can, enhance their skills in. So that's how I attended one course. I had also appointed one tutor uh, who had also helped me out in learning a tool. And that's how I was getting the opportunity to basically learn that tool, and also get to know that how that particular tool is used in other companies. So that was my way of doing the preparation to switch to another job. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about when you started off with HCL, and how does that process work a little bit in detail. So, for example, I am a person who is just passed out of university. I just graduated, and I am applying to jobs. So for me, if an audience member is listening and they're like, how does that work? Like, okay, I start to apply jobs, and what's going to happen even if some company hires me. So, um, how much time did it take for you to train when you started with HCL? Was it a month, 2 months? How much time did that take?
So when I had joined HCL, approximately 2-3 months was there, for which I was given a training, and I had
Okay.
to, yeah.
Okay. And then they give you an exam. And then that once you pass that exam, that's when they actually place you
Yeah.
in a location,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. What happens if you don't pass that exam?
Then you will have to give the retest again. Then you might have to attend the
Okay,
training again. But the trainers
okay,
usually help you out because you get all that documents with you, which will
yeah,
help you out in preparing for those exams.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay. And then obviously if it's a very huge company like HCL, so it is possible that you might get placed in a completely different location.
Yeah.
Like, Pratibha was placed in Mumbai,
Yeah.
and then you kind of have to expect that okay, that could happen. So just be prepared that it is possible that you might have to move to another location. So
Yeah.
um yeah, just to kind of like set those expectations. Okay, cool. But yes, I think it is something important that you mentioned that, you know, one thing that I appreciate was that you did not put yourself in a box. Like, you were not like, okay, this is the only thing I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And people are saying that, okay, you can only make money or you can only succeed if you are a programmer or like a software developer or someone, who does coding. But you were like, no, I'm gonna explore what
Yeah.
different fields are available within IT where actually I can excel and I can uh, learn more about it. So another thing that I've noticed is within the IT field and within um, engineering is people do a lot of certifications,
Yeah.
and those are really important, and they do have value, right? Is
Yeah.
that your experience?
Yeah, definitely. Those certifications do carry a lot of value because that certification qualifies you for that particular position. And I would definitely say that if one wants to switch to another field, they definitely need to have that certification of that particular skill to justify that okay, you have done the proper training and you have also passed that exam. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So tell me, why did you decide to switch to this field? What interested you in this field? Was it something that, you came across accidentally, or were you exploring and you were like, okay, I'm gonna give this a try, and then when you tried it, you liked it?
Yeah, so basically, like I said, when I was like doing some research, I had tried different options, and once I was like watching certain tutorials, then I had just downloaded some demo tools on which I can practice and see if that tool is particularly the skill I want to pursue, right? So I had tried out different options, and then one of the tool was there, which is called as Informatica, which I was very much interested in, and that's how I had planned that okay, I would try to learn that skill and also basically learn how to apply that tool in different projects, right? So that's how I had planned because I believed in that I should not worry much about acquiring different skills. It was just I wanted to get some specialization in one of the fields.
Okay, okay, got it. And then once you started with that, what was the first job that you started within this field?
So within this field, I got the opportunity as a support person, right? Because since I was very new to the that particular tool and very new to that field, they could not give me directly a lead role there. So they had given me a support role where I was just helping out the team members who are in lead position to take care of basically implementation in the project. So that was more of a support role there.
Okay, okay. Yeah. So, the lesson here is that if you are switching from a field or you're transitioning into another field, you should be open to any kind of roles that are available. So even if it is a support role, be open to it. so that you can get some exposure
Yeah.
and experience in that role, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, okay, all right. And then what happened afterwards? How did you move out of support to like being an analyst?
Yeah. So once like I had gone into that role, so after a year or so, I realized that I want to take some more responsibilities and take some more roles, and then I had planned to switch to another job. So I had switched to Accenture. On this particular role only, I had given the interview, but unfortunately, they did not have that much projects of that particular tool in my location, so they were asking me to relocate to Chennai, which I was not willing to. And that's when, like, when I was doing some networking, I realized one of my friend has just recently got trained into Workday, and that work I was very new to Workday. I had not even heard about Workday. So
Mhm.
that particular colleague of mine informed me that okay, you can Accenture is getting you trained in that particular skill, and you can easily get job here in Delhi NCR only. So that's how, since I was not willing to relocate, I was willing to learn, particularly learn that skill. And I had just like started exploring and realized that okay, it is a hot skill, and it's very much in demand. And it's just that there are very limited people who work on that particular skill, and that certification value is very high for this particular skill. And that's how I landed up and got myself trained in Workday.
Okay, okay, got it. So tell me a little bit more about, what exactly do you do in this role with Workday?
So Workday is also a very vast field. It is basically an HR consulting tool where uh, it includes so many modules you can do. It's like you have Workday Finance, you have Workday Payroll, you have Workday Compensation. So you have got different modules, and it is basically a tool used by different HRs or different payroll teams in order to manage employees' data. So let's say you get
Mm,
hired, so if you are just recently hired employee, then you can fill out your details, those
mm,
details, and your compensation and everything gets approved, and all those things get basically recorded in that particular tool. And that's how
okay,
the tool is particularly used.
okay, okay. And then you are basically responsible for managing that data within
Yeah.
Workday.
Yeah,
Okay.
some of the clients are working in older legacy system. Let's say they are working in another uh, tool, which and they want to use Workday now. So they don't
Okay.
have idea about Workday, but then
Yeah.
they know that the this particular tool is going to help them a lot, and it is going to be
Mm,
more efficient than their previous tool.
mm,
So we
mm.
also do that particular transfer, right, from that particular tool to
Yeah.
Workday.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Okay. And so now let's talk about, some of the challenges that you faced when, you started off with this career. So I know you mentioned that, initially when you were working in HCL, obviously traveling was a huge challenge.
Yeah.
And um, so yeah, I mean, what did you learn from with that challenge?
So with respect to traveling, I would say that okay, you have to. It's not only about the money which you are getting in a particular job. You have to set your own priorities. That okay, what is working out for you? Like for me personally, I give priority to my personal time, and I want to just pursue that job which gives me a work life balance, where I could utilize my time and I don't waste my time in traveling or in traffic, right? So that's how I got to prioritize myself and prioritize what are the things which matter in a job, because initially we just think that okay, money is important, but then I feel other factors are also important, that okay, where is your office location, what are your working hours, and how convenient is it for you to go? Like, does the company provide you any transportation there? Because if they don't, then it's a challenge, because you are uh, providing, like, you are giving your own expenses for traveling, right? So again, that thing is, you have to consider it when you are looking for a job.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And so tell me about the next challenge that you faced. So when you moved to the next company, what was the challenges there?
So when I had switched from HCL to another company where I was working as a support role, there was the problem with the shift hours, right? Because I had to get up early in the morning, like 5:30 a.m. in the morning, till 2:30 p.m. till my lunch time, right? So that was a challenge for me, where I had to get up very early, and that was a job which required a lot of attention to detail, because if you have not paid attention to anything, then there used to be a lot of escalations which could come up, right? So you have to make sure that, okay, no job is failing or no error is coming out. So that was a challenge for me, because I was not that kind of a person who used to pay so much of attention to emails or anything like that. But that job required that particular role, that, okay, if there is anything wrong, you just simply immediately have to call the people, the developers who have created that code, right? So that they are able to fix it. So yeah, that was quite a challenge in that job.
Okay, so what did you learn from that challenge?
Yes, so basically, I just realized that, okay, there are a lot of things on which we can avoid those escalations, and we can put more attention to each of the emails, and we have to prioritize, and we have to know, okay, which is the task which is more important, so that nobody comes and questions you out, and you should be open to accepting your mistakes, right? If you have made a
Mhm.
mistake, then don't try to defend yourself all the time. You have to, if you have made a mistake, then instead of getting into an argument with your manager, just simply accept your mistake and tell that person that, okay, I will be more careful next time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think accountability is really important, and any leader or manager would appreciate that okay, instead of like defending yourself, you just accept your mistake and you say, okay, I made a mistake, but I'm gonna learn from it. So that that's definitely a really good learning from here. And then obviously, a lot of people, when you're looking for a job, that's something that you do see in a lot of job descriptions. They say we need this person to have really good attention to detail.
Yeah,
But I don't think that comes to everyone
yeah,
naturally.
yeah,
It comes with the experience. So,
yeah,
having that experience like you had, obviously you were not great at it before when you started, but after going through all of it, now you definitely have so much better skills of attention to detail and you know um, prioritization, as you said. So yeah, that's great. um, okay, so let's move to the next company you moved into. So what were the challenges there?
So when I had joined Accenture, right? So after completing that support role, as I said, I had moved to Accenture, and there I got to know about the training opportunity in Workday. So that particular skill, in order to train myself, I had to relocate for approximately 2 months there to train myself, because it was a classroom training, and that training was also very important, because I had to pass that exam in order to get certified, and in order to get that particular full-time position. So Workday, so the basic core, it's HCM core certification is around 6 hours of an exam. So you have to prepare yourself to sit for 6 hours and complete the configuration. And initially it will be like MCQs for 1.5 hours, and then it will be a proper practical exam which you will have to do, right? So instead of programming, it is more of a functional side of doing the configuration, understanding of how Workday works and what are the different configurations which you have to do. So I would say it requires obviously it requires a lot of understanding and a lot of it's so the exam also, the questions which are they ask you are not very direct. So they will give you some indirect hints in that particular question, and then based on your understanding you have to develop that in Workday tool. That's why it is such a long hour exam. So
Mm.
once you give that exam, then you have to wait for a week or so, and the trainer who has given you a training will particularly check your configuration, and then will give you marks accordingly. That okay, how have you set up that system? So that's how you get certified. And once you get certified, you have to sit for 2 3 months on bench to wait for the projects to come up. And then during that time you can just basically revise what you have learned. You can learn, you can networking is very important when you have just recently joined company. Then I would say networking plays a very huge role because then you get to know of the different projects people are working in, what are the challenges people are facing, right? So that's how the journey began.
Okay, so let's talk about, when you were on the bench. So I know a lot of people will relate with this because this is very common
Yeah,
with the IT industry. I'm not sure about, if it happens, in other parts of the world, if it's the same thing. But in India, it definitely happens. With different IT companies that,
yeah,
once any person joins these consulting companies, this happens where, they are put on the bench, which means that, you won't be given any job responsibilities.
yeah,
You're just kind of on the waiting list,
yeah.
waiting to be assigned to a project, right?
Correct.
That's what it means, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, and it's pretty common for people to be on the bench for 2 to 6 months. Is
Yeah.
that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so, with also another thing is that, the projects that you get, um, is there, do they tell you like how long the project is going to be that you're being assigned to, or do they ask you if you want to be assigned to this project? How does that work?
So, like, once you are on bench, then you just have to keep your resume updated. You have to mention all of the skills on which you have worked upon, and based on your resume which you have shared with them, accordingly, that is something which they like. There are like suppose if there are new projects in pipeline which have come up, then they based on your resume they will do that selection, and based on that they will tell you okay, this is the project you have been assigned to, and there's no choice there, frankly, because
Okay.
if you are waiting for a long time, then you just want to learn and just become the part of that particular project. But yeah, definitely they will tell you some of the initial details, like okay, what is the duration of the project, and who are all the people who are like leading that project and things like that. So these are the initial details which you are given, but it's like you just tend to select that project in order to grow yourself.
Okay. And then, so what if you're assigned to a project and you don't like it? How do you manage that? What are the some tips that you can give to people? So if someone says, "Oh, I've been assigned to a project, but I don't like it, so what should I do?"
So if you don't like that particular project, then definitely, firstly, you have to have a very strong reason of leaving that project. Because if you are once assigned into a project, then it is very difficult for the other person, for your leads, to find your replacement. So I would say that you need to have very strong reason in order to tell that okay, you don't no longer want to be a part of that project, or at least maybe luckily if you have got a backup, a person who can work as a part of your role, then I think they will be willing to do that. But it doesn't happen instantly. People usually wait for like 6 months or so in order to get themselves released out of that project. But then again, I would say that okay, it is usually not recommended once you have entered as a fresher. So if you have like your experienced resource, then you have nobody can question you that much. But if you are fresher, you are expected to adjust, and you are just expected to just continue that project.
Okay, okay. And so with, all these projects that you have worked in, um, what has been your experience when it comes to like how long those projects were they like ongoing projects, or was it like, okay, that project went on for 6 months or 1 year and then you were moved into another project?
So yeah, it was a mixture of both actually. So I would say that majority of the times it was always a fresh project in which I was assigned to. So by fresh I mean the tenant for the Workday system on which the client wants to work upon is very new to the client, and we just have to start off with their implementation. So I would say majority of the times it used to be a very fresh project. But in very minor cases it used to be that okay, I am acting as a replacement for somebody who has just resigned, and I have to be a shadow of that person in that project.
Is it like which option is better? Is it better to be in a fresh project, or is it better to be in a project that, as you said, your replacement or something?
Well, definitely, it is always better to be a part of a fresh project, because then you are building everything from scratch, right? So it is always difficult to fix the issues which somebody has built from the beginning, right? You have to dig in, and you have to spend so much of time understanding what other person has built, and you don't get that much of a learning opportunity. But once the project is very new, and once the requirement is very new to the client, you are getting more client facing role, where you can understand the requirement from the client. But once the project gets old, then the client will not tell you their direct requirement, because they have the expectation that okay, we have already have these discussions in the initial phase, right? So definitely, having a new project, having a fresh project is definitely more like much better.
So let's talk about, relationships. And by relationships, I mean, the relationships that you develop either through networking or, with your colleagues or with the client. So when it comes to networking, obviously you mentioned it, it's really important.
Yeah.
So how did you do that? Did you do that through talking to them directly, in your company, or did you approach them through LinkedIn? How, people responded to it? And then how helpful was it?
So before COVID, it was networking. I would say was very easy, because we used to travel to office and we would meet people there, right? So if you are put on bench and you are waiting for projects, then there are other people also who are in the same boat and who are also looking out, right? So at that point of time, people do help you out because they understand that situation, and they help you with what you're looking for. So I would definitely say before COVID it used to be easier, but then post COVID, like, things have changed, right? That we are working remotely, so then it becomes a challenge for us to connect with people. And if you're new to the company, then definitely you don't know anyone, and you just have to be very patient, and you just have to follow, like, you have to do constant follow-ups with your HR about the projects, or if there is anything. So I would say once you are waiting for the project, then like, working remotely, the only person you are connected with is your manager or your HR, right? So at that time, you just have to be very proactive in just following up with them. I know it's very frustrating because it's that you have to email them the same thing, that okay, you're looking for the opportunity, or you have to let's say you have to post your availability, that okay, you have this much of availability. So that's something which we can do, right, in terms of getting into more projects. So yeah, I think these networking was there. Otherwise, what another option could be that if you're joining a new company, then you can talk to people via LinkedIn also. Like, you can search for the people who are working in that company, and just ask them, okay, how you're working, how's the, like, work experience there. Because I had personally done that before joining any new company. I used to ask people through LinkedIn that okay, how your how's your work experience in that particular company.
Yeah.
So definitely that thing definitely helps out.
Yeah, because obviously another thing is that we hear from, different people their experiences with different companies, and sometimes your experience is not the same as their
Yeah,
experience.
correct.
So, that is definitely also something to keep in mind, that, it's possible that a lot of people might come to you and say that, oh, like, it's not really the kind of work that, I enjoy, and, maybe, the work is too much in that company. But for you, it could be fine. You could be like, okay, for me, it's fine. I don't really see
Hmm.
that work is too much for me. So yeah, that's something that's definitely to keep in mind as well. But yeah, I think networking is really important, and you should definitely do that, especially when you're going to like a new company.
Yeah.
So let's discuss a little bit about, other relationships. So, how do you maintain your relationship, let's say, with your manager, or then we will talk about, your clients, or whoever you're interacting with besides your manager. But yeah, let's start with the manager first. What have you learned when it comes to, you know, um, the employee manager relationship?
So, with respect to managers, what I have usually seen is that in the initial phase, you have to put in efforts to build that trust with that manager. Because what I have seen is that if the manager is new to the company, or if he has recently, become a part of that particular role, then he tries to, be in best position where he could question you minor things. He could point out certain things, so you don't have to take that personally. You just have to be in his shoes and realize that okay, he is doing his job, and he is new, so that's why he also himself has to uh, basically do his
Prove
job
himself.
in order
Yeah,
to
yeah.
answer to his leader also. So I would say that initially you have to build that trust. You have to be very patient. If he is pointing out things, or if he's questioning you too much, then I would say definitely you don't have to take that personally and get into a self-doubt zone. You just have to understand that okay, he's asking because he doesn't trust you at this moment, right? But once that trust is built, then you would see that now he's delegating you tasks which are part of his responsibility. So he might say that okay, this person has recently joined, please help her out. That's the kind of trust you would see from that manager. And on weekly basis, I connect with my manager, and if there are any new projects coming up and I have some availability, then I tell him that okay, this is the project I want to work upon, I want to work for a long term project. Or if it is country specific, I tell them okay, that I just want to get more experience into Canada payroll or UK payroll. So yeah, you have to tell your concern basically, that okay, what are your aspirations and what are you looking for, because it should not be that okay, he's randomly assigning you into any of the roles. And once you get into that experience position, you can always say no, that okay, I don't want to work in this particular project. So definitely these things, in the initial phase it is difficult to say no. But I would say that okay, once you have worked in that company for a year or so, then you have that opportunity to say no. Once you have recently joined, then you have to create that good image, and you have to be very flexible to take the projects, whatever is coming in your bucket.
Yeah, I think it's fair, and I think it's, expected, kind of, in a way that, even if you have a lot of experience, if you join a new company, I think everybody expects that, you need to prove yourself a little bit first,
Yeah.
for 6 months to a year. And once you have proven yourself, and, there is a trust that is, developed between you guys, then, it definitely becomes easier for you to talk about what your expectations are, and, what do you want. And then they will also listen to you, because then they're like, yes, this person has, proven themselves, and, I can trust them. So, don't be offended if, initially your manager or the company doesn't trust you, because frankly, they don't know you. They did hire you, but, they were kind of like taking a risk.
Yeah.
And now it's time for you to prove that, that yes, they hired a good person. Um, so when it comes to the projects that you're working on, is there also an element that, kind of affects your job when it comes to your relationship with the client? Do you directly interact with the client, or no?
So since I'm working from India and majority of the clients are in US or in Canada, it becomes very challenging for me to connect with them in their time zone. So usually it's like a majority of the time, my lead, who is in US, usually takes calls with the client. And from my side, I would say that I usually connect with client on email to email, right? So if let's say if I have been given certain assignment to do, and I'm facing certain challenges where client needs to fix their data, then I directly communicate to them via email. But majority of the times it is the lead, because of their matching time zones, that they are able to connect. But otherwise, we usually get some weekly meetings where we have the client, where they are usually in my late evening hours, right, which is their morning time. So that's one particular common time zone where we could connect. And majority of the times my lead will take up that role and understanding the requirement, and then he would assign me certain tasks. So yeah, I don't usually get to directly communicate with the client.
Okay. So, as a woman, and, the career journey that you've had so far, are there any things that you think that companies should do when it comes to, women and their career growth, and, with some differences that definitely happen everywhere. It's not just in India, but everywhere there are definitely a lot of biases, and just, how women are treated professionally, um, in different roles. So, are there any things that, you think that these companies can improve on?
Yeah. So, firstly, I would say that companies need to be very much like paying attention to sharing the woman's any kind of personal information, right? So, let's say you hire a woman, and it should not be that her contact details are shared with every person. I say that that information is very confidential and should only be provided to the manager. Nobody else should have access to my personal details. And also, I feel that it should, whether I'm single or married, it should not. This is the question which is normally asked in an interview or so, that okay, are you staying with your family? Are you single? Are you married? I think it should not matter. And this is the question which I don't think any interviewee should ask, because I think this is a, it doesn't matter actually whether that
Yeah,
person is single or married or divorcee, or if
yeah,
that person is staying with family or not, right? It should not matter. So definitely they should be very particular with what kind of questions they are asking. And yeah, I think they need to be very supportive. If a particular woman is like going on a maternity leave and coming back, it should not be that okay, usually people say that okay, you have come from a relaxing period, or people usually believe that okay, they are getting free salary once you are on maternity leave. But that is something which I feel that no man can understand what women go through during that period, and they should not hold any kind of opinion of what women are going through. And if they feel that okay, they are getting free salary or so, it's not the doesn't
yeah,
justify, right? Because they cannot understand uh, women's situation during that time. So definitely,
yeah,
if you have any person, if you have any expecting mother in your team, then you have to be very much empathetic. You have to help her out in terms of if she's like getting back to work, or if she is not able to complete her work on time during her
mm,
time, right? So I would definitely say that I have to have that understanding.
yeah, yeah. I think, yeah, those are very valid points. And yeah, I think we definitely need to be more conscious on, what kind of things that we're thinking about when it comes to women, especially, how men think about women. Like you said, the expecting mothers who are going on maternity leave, and people kind of like hold grudges against them, and they're like, oh, like, he's just having fun.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, that definitely needs to be changed. And definitely, I don't agree with that either, that you know asking personal questions about, like, if you're single, if you're married, or when are you planning to get married, those kind of questions don't really make sense, and
yeah,
they shouldn't really matter, because it doesn't affect your work.
yeah,
It's totally separate from your work. So yeah, those kind of things definitely need to change, because in the past few years, I have not seen them changed at all, because that also have had been my experience when I was working in India. So yeah, that definitely needs to be changed. Um, and in the end, let's talk about what your future aspirations are. What are you hoping to achieve in the next couple of years?
so in the future, I definitely want to become a very good leader, I would say, because I have always be, been an individual contributor in a project, right? So now I have got like enough experience into Workday that I can definitely, particularly, get into a lead role and take that responsibility, because I have always been under like a support where usually take up the responsibilities of dealing with the client. So definitely I want to also get into that particular role and see how I'm able to handle the team, how am I able to directly deal with the client. So definitely I want to get into a lead role and become a subject matter expert of Workday Payroll, on which I'm working. So yeah, this is I think this role requires a lot of experience, and a lot of you have to have certain qualities in order to become a good leader. So yeah, I'm like slowly and steadily learning. If I like, I get to work with different managers, and every manager has got different working style, right? So I get to learn from each of my managers and see that okay, what is the best way of working and leading a particular team. So I'm still learning on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, do you see yourself as, as you said, like as a manager, like actually managing a team under you, or
Yeah.
do you just want to be like a subject matter expert in Workday?
Yeah, so priority is becoming a subject matter expert, and then would be managing the team, because I feel that if you have become subject matter expert, then you are like more able to answer the client questions, right? You don't have to worry much. And once you have become subject matter expert, then definitely you are also able to help out others. So that is something
Yeah.
which I feel that would be on the positive aspect. But with the respect to managing the team, I feel that is quite stressful, and that
Mm,
requires a lot of patience, and you just have to have that working style where you don't show such authority, or you are very compassionate or empathetic towards the colleagues which you are trying to manage. So yeah,
yeah.
that's the thing.
Okay. And then usually my last question is, tell me 5 things about yourself that you're proud of.
Okay, so I've never like given a thought to it. Let me think.
Yeah, 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 of course. Take your time. This is usually a question that is quite tough for people because they never really look back and think about, oh, like, what are my successes, what are my wins, and what I have achieved so far or what I've learned. So it could be anything from, I've learned so many things about myself, during these challenges. And, I'm just really proud of, how I've dealt with those challenges, whether it's like, the company or the role or
Yeah.
even people that you deal with, like even with your manager. That's, even if you're able to um, manage that relationship with your manager, even that is an accomplishment in itself. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, I would like particularly say that like since my corporate journey, I've been like proud of being open to learning new things, and I have not restricted myself, and I've always being very consistent in asking people if they require my support or they need my help there, because there are very few
Mm,
people who do that, right? Because usually
yeah.
people just sit for idle for longer hours, and they really don't want to make an effort to get that opportunity. But I would say that
Mm,
I have been very consistent in asking for the uh, projects, or getting into a good projects where I could learn, because my
mm,
priority has always been learning something new, right? So
mm,
that is something which I have been very proud of. Next thing which I would say that okay, I have been so once I get into a comfort zone, like once I have stayed in a company for long, then I definitely take an effort and start giving out interviews to understand the job market. Even if you're not
mm,
planning to which then it is a good thing that you start giving
Yeah.
out interviews also, right? Because you get to know what is your worth, how much companies are ready to pay you, and what are the
Yeah.
questions which they are asking you. So
Mm,
definitely these interview questions help you out in realizing what are the areas of your improvement, right? So definitely I have like in the past I have always been open to giving interviews. I have never like protected myself from there. Like I always feel good learning opportunity when when I'm giving those interviews. So yeah, I'm
mm,
really proud of that. Next thing is that I have built very good connections with my colleagues. uh, and
mm,
the connection is so good that if I'm stuck in any of my work and if I don't have bandwidth, then they will come and they will help me out, and they will say, okay, if you are not able to handle it, then we will help you out or we will take care of it. Because it is like a two-way street, right? That when I am helping out people, people are also coming out to me and they are ready to help me out as well. So I would say that I've built certain good rapport with my colleagues, and I with whomever I have built good connections. I have always also like stayed in touch with them after leaving that job. So I would say that
mm,
you should, if you have built certain good connections, then since Workday is a very small community, then it might be the case that once you are getting into a new company, that person might be there. So you have to
mm.
build a good rapport with all the people, because you never know whom
Yeah.
you will get that opportunity to work again.
Yeah.
uh, so yeah, next thing I would say that I have always like given priority to my job. Like it used to be like work used to be always my priority. I have never taken like long leaves during my career journey. I've always given like priority to my job, where uh, if I have like so many assignments, then I always like make sure that I complete my work on time, so that there is no pressure on the lead side. Or my manager also says that he is like very much relaxed, because he doesn't have to spoonful feed every person that okay, you have to
Mm,
arrange a backup for you. Because people, we all already understand the situation that okay, if you are going on a long leave, what are the things, what
yeah.
are your responsibilities? So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
tend to do that before he says it. So I know what are the things he is expecting. So I meet
Mm,
his expectations now, and I've built that trust with him.
mm. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I am also really proud of you on, uh, just navigating those challenges that came, so many of them,
Yeah.
in different parts of your life and your job. And yeah, I just hope that you realize that, you have achieved so much, and, and I'm sure you're going to continue doing that. You have obviously grown as a person, and you have just, become just better and better every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, continue doing that, and I'm sure you will achieve whatever, your goals are and whatever is best for you. So we will end the episode here, and I hope that the audience has enjoyed this episode. I hope you have learned a lot about, the field of engineering and different roles that you can do and different projects that you can work on. And obviously, if you have any questions or even more um, questions about this field, there's so many support out there. As Pratibha mentioned, you can definitely network on LinkedIn if you are seeking more advice. So find those people who are in that field, and I'm sure that they will help you out. um, and then just be open to everything. That's the important lesson here, is to be open and explore different things so that you can find what you actually enjoy and do. And yeah, I hope um, you have liked this episode. And if you have, please go and subscribe. And we do these episodes bi weekly, so one episode every 2 weeks. So if you're interested in learning more about stories like this, go and subscribe. So thanks again, Pratibha. Um, and I will talk to you soon. Maybe in a couple of months, we'll see how you've grown. But yeah, thanks again.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.